Folks, is your heart cold? Maybe a frost heart, even? Oh, the lame jokes to start out. Hey, what's going on? HeirofCarthage here. You can tell by the cringe-worthy jokes. And I am back with another battle in Total War Warhammer 2. And this one is going to be a really awesome 3v3 battle. This one is going to be High Elves, Avalorn, if you will, and then the Dwarves, and the Vampire Coast. And they're up against Beastmen, Chaos, and the Norskins. I forgot the Norskins on the other side. So we're going to see an attack early. I'm going to kind of just, well, I don't really want to pause it. Let's just kind of check out this attack early. The overall armies, the Beastmen are rocking a lot of Goreherd and Kazrak, the One-Eye, and he's supporting even more Goreherds and Ungorherds that were Vanguard deployed, but of course he is getting savaged right now by the Shade Wraith Gunners. But Kazrak's going to lead things early with a massive attack on the Vampire Coast and the Dwarves here on the left flank of the, I'm going to call it the home team because they're not the red color. And we're going to have Avalorn coming to assist with two handmaidens. There's some spearmen. Alarielle is leading the fight for the High Elves. She's got a Star Dragon, the Frostheart Phoenix, and she does have a Star of Avalorn and some archers. Aranessa Salt Spite. I mean, she just sounds like she belongs in Carthage. She likes to sail. She's swimming in salt. Probably had her legs chopped off by Romans, you know, all that kind of stuff that Carthage people are familiar with. Anyway, it's a few carronades with Aranessa. She's also got herself some zombie pirate deckhand mobs, some rotting Prometheans, deckhands with polearms, deckhands with handguns. I mean, you name it, they have the deckhand variety for it. Chaos is coming right down the center into the Dwarves, and they are rocking some fodder up front, but with warriors and warriors with great weapons in the back. They are led by Prince Sigvald. He is supported by an Exalted Hero and a Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Fire, who just got off a pretty nice burning head there. It did a lot of damage to the Vampire Coast. And then as for the Norskins, they are led by Wulfric the Wanderer, and he is supported by a Shaman Sorcerer, Lore of Metal. There are several Marauders, and Marauders with great weapons, two Feral Manticore, and then a couple of Famir Warriors, and the Maws of Savagery. And speaking of savagery, the Bray Shaman, Lore of Shadows, is savaging some High Elf archers as we speak. Let's go take a look to see how Kazrak's assault on the left flank is going. It's been a brutal one. He managed to get some, Kazrak's team managed to get some Razor Goreherds in behind the lines, get some charges off. That was met by some resistance, but those guys deal a lot of armor-piercing damage. Pretty nice way to try and clean up Dwarves, along with the chariots in here for the leaders. But Kazrak himself was taking some pretty massive damage early in that fight. And there he is exiting the battlefield. So he did not last long. He may have been picked off by the handmaidens or some other units there. I didn't catch all of it. I just noticed that he was taking a lot of damage early. The Beastmen aren't great at chopping through armor. They can cause a lot of damage. They're relatively quick, and they're able to come back from routing and continue to try and do stuff like this. You can see they're trying to get into the back lines. I don't know if it's going to work at this point. You can see Chaos able to hold the center. They've got a lot of tankiness to them, and there's really nothing here from the home team, so to speak, that's going to be able to really easily push back this many Chaos Warriors. The level of armor and shielding, heavy melee defense here is going to be significant. And they may not chop through their enemies super quickly if they have armor, but they're going to chop through. There's a huge fight going on in this flank. Chaos and Norska combining to try and break their way through the Dwarves. There's Gotrek and a Rune Lord that were fighting on this flank. And you can see that Norska is just throwing the kitchen sink at both of them right now. And the Rune Lord and Gotrek will find themselves in a pretty tough fight here. Wulfric is there to support. But of course, I mean, look at Gotrek's stats right now. 90 melee defense, 609 weapon damage. Yikes. The guy's an absolute tank. You see a Shaman Sorcerer supporting with some Searing Doom over there. Yeah, this is not exactly where Gotrek and the Rune Lord want to be. They are going to get overwhelmed here. It's really kind of just a matter of time. They're being held in there momentarily just by their tankiness, but they're definitely going to have to watch out. I love how the handmaidens are just sitting back, playing it safe, and firing in, and using their ammunition. Don't get involved in that fight too early. We're going to see another burning head over here, taking some archers, hitting some thunderers, and more archers. Not a bad burning head from the Chaos Sorcerer, who's picked up 90 kills. And then Aranessa is going to find herself in the middle of the struggle for her life, fighting off Mirror Guardsmen. as well as Chaos Warriors and Aspiring Champions. She is definitely in over her head. She's got some moves. We'll give her that. May have like Legolas type moves even. But she isn't going to want to stick around in this fight for too long. I love the Mirror Guard supporting Sigvald. That is such a fun pick. And honestly, Aranessa is tanking this like a beast right now. She's got her Death Captain here, and he has been able to use Doom and Soul Blight to help pull down the damage that Chaos is dealing. And meanwhile, all the way over here on the left flank, the High Elves have been terrorizing the Beastmen, literally, with the Frostheart Phoenix and the Star Dragon. These two super weapons are going to combine to dish a ton of damage. Just a ton of damage. Comes the Blackhorn Ravagers back into the fight. At least, oh no, hang on. I got the wrong unit here. Destroyers of the Drakwold. My bad. See that Chaos Sorcerer trying again and again for the archers. That Flamestorm actually not going off too well for him there. So it is a huge fight all across the battlefield, folks. I'll kind of zoom out just to give you a little image, or shall I say the big image of all the carnage. I have left all the corpses on so you can see the magnitude of this fight. Overall, this is about 7,500 little individual models. So this is a huge fight. I'm surprised they could pull this one off without a ton of lagging. Maybe it did lag a ton when they played it, but of course on the replay, you know, we can handle it. We can do that. So still a long ongoing fight here between the high melee defense Elves of Avalorn and the Marauders from the north here, who probably have the upper hand, but it will take them a while. Now these Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, this is going to be a tough unit. They're heavily armored, they've got good stats, and they're going to put up a heck of a fight, especially against anything that doesn't have particularly high armor. Swing across the battlefield. The Shaman Lure of Metal hasn't done a ton in terms of kills, but if he's using the right debuffs, he can be very helpful here. You can see now Aranessa in some pretty serious trouble. She is starting to waver, and may be driven off the battlefield. She's got trapped by Sigvald, and is in some pretty big trouble. Some pretty big trouble indeed. You can see this Star Dragons racking up the kills, and the Chevrons, the Shade Wraiths, managed to stay alive, and they have the Gunnery Wight with them, and they can continue to give ammunition to these units back here, so that'll be very bad for the red team. Look at this, Aranessa just barely escaping with her life. Oh, that breath attack. Eee. Eee. Yeah, it was pretty good. That was pretty good. Let's check it out here. Wulfric trying to get over to his ball of Mirror Warriors and the Maws of Savagery all working together. This is going to be one tough camp here. But a Frostheart Phoenix coming in, slowing units down. Got the Star Dragon in there. This is also going to be tough to beat. So Mirror Warriors have great damage here. Really fantastic damage. But, I mean, these are two hulking beasts they're fighting against. And I can hear a Star of Avalorn going off right now. It's actually trying to heal the Rune Lord as he runs away from Chaos. So the dwarves desperately trying to keep their leader alive, and it looks like Sigvald got Spirit Leeched. Yeah, he did take a Spirit Leech. It's going to be from the Fleet Captain. Gotrek has arrived in this fight, and at this point with the Frostheart Phoenix, the Dragon, Master Rune of Negation, yeah, Norska is in some serious trouble here. You can see that Wulfric barely escapes with his life. He is just trying to stay alive at this point. We've got his Sorcerer here as well. Shaman Sorcerers look cool. Don't get to see them too terribly often. Another Soul Blight coming in. So Norska is really feeling it in that fight. See the Handmaidens still in good shape. They'll be able to fight in melee at this point. Little over halfway for the home team here, but they have a significant amount of infantry to mop up. You can see it all across the battlefield, though there are some dwarves, some Longbeards even over here. There's some regrouping beastmen. A lot of things moving towards the center. Here we're going to get an aerial duel between a Feral Manticore, Frostheart Phoenix, and a Star Dragon. This is going to be a fight that easily goes against the Manticore. You can see Norska here fighting desperately to pull down the Rune Lord. Sigvald right in there with him. And Gotrek is in that fight as well. But the Dragon and the Frostheart Phoenix just aren't going to give up on this one. The Rune Lord goes down, and Gotrek is closer to giving up the ghost, but the damage just continues to mount as the Star Dragon keeps getting healed. The Frostheart Phoenix keeps getting healed. They have Terror, fear is going to be a really tough game here. The Handmaidens have anti-large melee damage whenever they need to use it as well. You can see they're going to be used to chase out routing units at the moment. That is not a bad call, and then as they're saved into later in the game, they can really be used in a number of very advantageous positions. I believe that was some hit points going off to try and save Gotrek, but he goes down regardless, and again, maybe just over half right now for the home team. And if we look over here, there's a Gunnery White. He is still alive. This is pretty big, but he is being attacked by a significant number of Chaos troops, and there's only so long that he can hold out against this type of thing. The only thing he's got going for him is that Chaos is very slow. They run like they've eaten a couple of trays of donuts before a cross-country race. Yeah, not even the sugar can give them the energy. Look at the Fisherman's Net there. So Aranessa is coming back, folks. She didn't learn her lesson the first time. And Aranessa is back. She's dropped her net, but she gets hit by the Frostheart Phoenix. Looks like they're trying to replenish her with some Earth Blood right now, and it's working to some extent. You can see the Handmaidens, the Frostheart Phoenix, Alarielle hovering overhead. If you get into a blob fight like this, there hasn't been a second Star of Avalorn that's gone off yet, so a blob fight will become very risky for Chaos, Norska, and Beastmen, though I don't even think there's a lot of Beastmen left in this fight, if any. Yeah, there's a few back here in the back, some Ungor Raiders and Gore Herds with shields, but the Beastmen have mostly been knocked off the map. There are some Marauders back here that could be transferred over into the main fight. These ones are fighting these Spearmen way off on the flank. This fight's somewhat inconsequential at the moment for both players. Dropping some Searing Doom in this fight from the Shaman Sorcerer, Lore of Metal. You can see Alarielle has now dropped into the fight as well, and there is the Star of Avalorn, and this is going to be very, very tough for Chaos Sigvald's Chaos Army. That's actually helping to keep Aranessa alive as well, and all the work that's gone into killing Aranessa just seems to be reversing itself as she just comes spinning back on her spear, making Legolas jealous all the while. She's going to chase out some Famir warriors while she's at it. So at this point, the battle's definitely starting to turn against the red team here. Chaos is losing their leadership, Norska's lost most of their leadership, and their efforts are just starting to become a little bit insurmountable. They have no answer to the super weapons left in the field by the High Elves. That Frostheart Phoenix and the Star Dragon are in solid health because of all the healing, and then to make things worse, here comes the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, and a bunch of Dwarf Infantry this late in the game is a real crapshoot to have to try and deal with, because their leadership, armor, and defense is pretty solid. Sigvald's now going to find himself facing off against the Beast. And he's like, hey, look, I'm a duelist. This isn't really my fight, so I'm going to go home, change clothes, wash up the cape, and I will see you all later. He's had enough. This Aranessa, though, man, she is just never quit. This fight, she just keeps coming back for more. Aranessa, actually, the type of target that Sigvald would like to fight. Fairly low armor. Single infantry type model. But Sigvald won't get that opportunity. You can see the Handmaidens here charging in, looking to help finish things up. Shaman Sorcerer in the middle of that fight. And the last remnants pulling together here. The Aspiring Champion's going to be pretty big here. If they can hold their leadership together, they will help the rest of the Chaos Warriors stay in this fight for as long as possible. You can see that there's hardly even been a dent in these Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. They are holding on like champions. Really fighting well. Like I said, late game Dwarf Infantry is a real pain in the butt. Norska and Chaos throwing everything all in. Still a considerable number of troops on the battlefield for him, far more than the home team here. You can see there, you know, about 500 to 600 more even. But sometimes numbers aren't everything. And I'll show you where the numbers are getting overwhelmed. And it's that Frostheart Phoenix, the Handmaidens, and the Star Dragon. That right there is making up a huge difference in terms of the number of troops. Chaos Warriors, as dangerous as they are, they are going to have to be in large numbers and well supported to have a prayer to beat up these two flyers, especially in late game, where the leadership has taken its toll and terror starts to become a real problem. And that looks like it's going to do it. So that was an epic battle, folks. Absolutely epic. Loved this one. Big 3v3 with ultra unit sizes. Plenty of troops here. Thank you to Regina, Pratani, Reptile King, Not So Casual, Barbecue Python, and Holy Zigzag. You all may notice some of these folks that are in these battles. It's because they're all active in the Discord. There's a lot more folks there too. I've been trying to make sure I swing around and I'm getting replays in from everybody. I've got to get some battles played myself, so I will be looking to do that. So look out there, and I'll be headed to the Discord, hopefully meet up with some of these folks and play myself. Really looking forward to it. Let's take a look at the armies one by one. RNS Assault Spite, impressive performance in this. She hung in there a long time. The Vampire Fleet Captain getting some good support in. And of course the cannons drawing in the enemies at first. Now they took a shellacking from the Beastmen early on, but you know what? Fodder factions got to do that sometime. Pratani bringing the gruesome 3 here. The Rune Lord, which is able to slow things down so that Gotrek can keep up with it. And then also providing the Master Rune of Negation. That is huge. And then Felix for the healing. But you can see Felix managed to get dumped early. And that left Gotrek and the Rune Lord kind of out without their healing, which can be problematic, but Alarielle was there to make up for some of the healing. I like the pick of Longbeards. I mean, even though they made this unit more expensive, still not a bad unit for just putting a lot of armor and melee defense out there. And these warriors of Dragonfire Pass were really handy. They did a lot of work throughout this battle, and then Regina bringing in the support army for the High Elves here, definitely doing well with her Star Dragon and her Frostheart Phoenix. They teamed up well, and of course they are always supported well by Alarielle, so they did a great job throughout the battle. And then Not So Casual, rocking the Chaos Army. His Sorcerer Lure Fire managing to get quite a few kills here. His warriors were fighting like beasts all through this, and honestly, they dominated the infantry fight. They just lost their leadership and didn't have the right tools to deal with this dragon and the Frostheart Phoenix in the end, but they were certainly victorious from an infantry standpoint, and really repping what Chaos can do with infantry. And then Barbecue Python, I love the Vanguard attack early on, and you can see it hurt. Like, some of these units hurt the Vampire Coast pretty bad, but when they were just when the Beastmen put that kind of hit on, they have to keep the roll going. And if they run into a heavily armored faction or a faction with healing or something, or higher defense like the High Elves, it can be a lot tougher to keep rolling up those flanks. And that's eventually what Barbecue ran into, but a very nice hit early on. Poor Kazrak, the one eye, definitely lost his other eye in this battle, but he went down fighting the way he should. Holy Zigzag bringing in Norska here, and holy crap, that was a lot of Famir warriors. That was quite I'm really honestly kind of surprised that those Famir warriors with great weapons, along with the Maws of Savagery, didn't just savage the dragon and the Phoenix. I kind of expected them to. That's interesting that they didn't. It could have been because of the support that was coming in to these two units that kind of just helped them heal off all the damage that surely had to be coming from these units. So it was an interesting Zerg squad here, and they combined nicely with Wolfric and the Shaman Sorcerer. So a lot of fun there. Thank you to Holy Zigzag. Appreciate all the players who played. Hey, if you want to help support the channel, there's something you can do, and it's free and it's easy, and you may want to even do it anyway. If you don't, please consider it. But if you don't, that's also okay. I'm just happy to have you here. Hey, leave a like if you enjoyed it. Hit the dislike button if you didn't like it. Leave some comments. Interacting with my videos is a great way to support the channel. It actually makes a huge difference. Videos with more interactions get promoted by YouTube more, and that's how you can help me get these videos to other people. We can always be growing this community and be having a lot of fun. If you want to join this Discord that you saw people participating in, there is a link in the description. It's open to everybody. We'd love to see you there. HeirofCarthage signing out for now, and I will see you soon.